Man, I am excited today. Like is I've done I don't know how many of these lives, man. I mean, I don't know, hundreds of them, and I've had people on before to do these lives, but who we have on today are two colleagues, two friends, two brothers that we've all done a whole lot of life together. you know, we've been there, support each other. We been there, encourage each other through the ups, the downs, the good and bads. We some projects that we're all doing together, and I'm just excited to have them on because this is the new year. Happy New Year, gentlemen. How y'all? Happy New Year,
Happy
2000.
New Year.
Going
Let's
to
get it in.
Pierre, we'll start with you. We'll save Mr. Marvin for the save the best for last. No, I'm not gonna say that.
It's Marvelous Marvin. Marvelous Marvin.
I'm gonna say Marvin's Mall for last. But go on and introduce yourself, Pete. Tell everybody who you are. They all know who you are. You like own LinkedIn. Like
Yeah,
they must have called LinkedIn. They call it LinkedIn. And he just owns it.
I wish. They got this. So I just look forward to sharing some insight and information that you probably didn't have, or or you're thinking about changing your strategies, and we're talking about reconstruction today. So let's reconstruct and move forward. I don't think we need an introduction from me. I mean, I help articulate their value so they can have higher earning potential. I help organizations articulate their value so they can have higher earning potential. You're going to be hearing so much more about value coming from me this year, 2022. You're going to be like, man, I never even understood value from that perspective.
Yep.
So get ready.
I know you. I know what you're doing. So they better get ready. You better get ready. So, Mr. Marvelous, what's up, man?
I'm just happy to be in the company of extraordinary men. You all know that I have a strong passion for moving people from promise to purpose.
Come on now.
And finding as many creative ways to do that. Oftentimes our gifts are sometimes sitting in a safe. We have to learn how to access the combination. So that we can enter and receive what belongs to us. And so I'm looking forward to 2022 so that we can move above and beyond the glass being half full or half empty, but overflowing with opportunity.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. No, we're excited to have you, fellas, and y'all get used to this trio right here because we do, and we have other folks in our circles, of course, but we do a lot of work together, and but we're very passionate about what we do. Maybe some of the customers that work with us are on this because I'm friends with a lot of folks on LinkedIn. But the reality is, the reason why I want these gentlemen on is because I know their commitment to the betterment of lives, organizations, individuals, and everything we do with purpose in mind. We're not just doing it. I'll be honest with you. Like for instance, we can get a contract, and we're not like, oh, we got this contract and blah blah blah. We don't do that. What we do is we get excited about the lives we're going to be able to impact. That's the only thing. That's what excites us, and everything else is a byproduct. So that's why I want these fellas on because I know their hearts. You know what I mean, and I know where their stance. But y'all know who I am. I mean, I don't think I really need to give an introduction. But I'm Daryl Andrews, Coach D. I've been in the people business for now over 20 years. We've been a government contractor in workforce development. We've had contracts with state, government, corporate agencies on a variety of topics from team building to core values to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I've been a keynote speaker at over 300 conferences. It still blows my mind sometimes thinking about that. There's a lot of stages, but speaking has been a lot more, but keynoting quite a bit. So, without question, I think a lot of folks out there kind of know who I am and what I do. But today, fellas, I just want to have a conversation. I told these guys, I didn't prepare them. I'm going to let you know this. I didn't send them a bunch of notes and say, come, with your responses, because I want them to speak from their hearts about this subject. Because, gentlemen, I'm going to put this out there, and I want us to maybe start with this conversation. I got a little bit of a challenge in me right now when it comes to people. Because, I've been through business a long time. And so there's not much I have not seen. You know what I mean? I've seen the big stages. I've seen thousands, tens of thousands of people in the audience and everybody screaming and shouting. And, this is going to be the year or this is going to be the new I'm about to ship. I've been in meetings with folks that we're going to, build this company, build this organization. I've been interacting with thousands of people that's, man, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to write a book. But Pierre, there's one big problem. A lot of them folks don't end up doing none of that stuff. You know what I mean? They just don't. And, they get excited. They get motivated. They go and spend tens of thousands of dollars to be a part of something. And the reality is, man, that I don't get it. I don't understand it. Talk to me. What's the problem from your perspective? What's the problem, Pierre?
Well, I think one of the things is that you have to have a burning desire from an individual perspective on what you want.
Right.
We can help people to get there. We can motivate people. We can inspire people, and anyone can get inspired to do something. But you have to have a burning desire inside of you to create change and create change of behaviors, because all of the things that we do happens from discipline and change of behaviors. Marv was just talking just a minute ago, and Marv was like, man, Pierre, I've been in the gym about 3 weeks now, and he's like, I'm ready to go. Right, Marv? You're like, man, I'm ready to go. And he's like, I saw this guy, in the video, and it was me, y'all, and it's like, he's working out in the gym. And what did you say, Marv? You said what?
I said, I gotta get it in, because this guy is extraordinary. I'm sort of balancing the scales, right? I'm like, I'm in the gym for 3 weeks. He's been in the gym for about 3 years. And so I got to figure this out.
Right, exactly.
Inspired by a visual, right?
Right. So you're inspired by a visual, and a lot of people can get inspired by a visual, but ultimately what creates changes in behaviors is the actual desire inside to get to his goal, which is one more crossover. That's what Marv said. One more crossover.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it, Daryl. I know you jumped out and had to jump right back in, but it went smooth, just so you know.
We jump back out for something, but it's all good, man. Yeah. And I didn't hear a lot of what you're saying, but I know you guys handled it. So yeah. And what I'm trying to really say here is, and this is my hope for this year. This is really my hope. And I mean, I think we're qualified and definitely have the experience to be a voice when it comes to this. We got to move from motivation to process.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because when you look at what people who have done things, I'll say this real quick, and Marvin, I'll jump in and get your thoughts. But I went to watching Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. They were speaking to a bunch of students at Stanford University. Right? Mm-hmm. So they were sitting in the middle up on the riser, and there were like 1,000 students around them with notepads. Now, I didn't hear one high five. I didn't see one elbow bump. I didn't hear one when they would say something poignant. Them kids were taking notes. And Bill and Warren were kicking knowledge. And I looked at that and I said, these are the next, LinkedIn's and the next, sitting in this room. And all they learn in the day is process. They're not in a building with 10,000 people screaming and hollering what they're going to do. They're not, going to this event, that event, and this and that, and this and that event. They were sitting there. So what I'm talking about today, gentlemen, is that, and we're talking about reinvention, but part of that reinvention, I think, is reconstruction, reconstructing the way we think if we want an outcome. And I think a lot of times people get so emotionally attached and so emotionally charged. Don't get me wrong. All three of us are motivators. So if you get us 5 minutes with you, we're going to inspire you. But we're also smart enough to know it takes more than that. Am I right, Marv? Talk to me, man.
Well, there's a real difference between being motivated and being inspired, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes we make commitment in an emotional moment, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when games start, right? And people in the huddle, everybody rah, 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 let's get excited. Let's go get this done. And the energy is explosive, right?
Yeah.
But what are you willing to do long after? How do you maintain a commitment long after the spirit in which you made the commitment is gone? It's a why. Mm-hmm. The why is the reminder to push forward, to eliminate every excuse, right? Because we can find excuses because excuses are so close to us. We can snatch them up every single moment, right? Because they exist everywhere.
Yeah.
But when you create a why, right? And I know that Pierre was kind of teasing me a little bit when I said, hey, I just want to get back in the gym so I can get back on the court that I love and cross somebody over one more time, right? But the reality is what? That if we want to move to the next level, we can't just dream it, right? We have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Because I heard once something to the effect, a dream without a vision or without a plan is just a nightmare. Right? That's what it becomes, right?
Yeah,
and
it
so
does.
If we're going to really be successful at who we want to become, we have to have a plan.
Yeah, man.
And we have to track that plan, because in tracking what we do is a reminder of what are our missteps, what are our successes. And so we can look up at a visual, Pierre, and say, oh, the reason I didn't succeed this month is because I fell short 4 or 5 times this week.
Yep.
You can't blame anyone but yourself, right? So in order for us to move to the next level in our experience, we must first make a commitment to ourselves, identify what that why is, and hold on to it really tightly. And then I'll close with this. Let's stop limiting what our choices are, right? And I said this to the two of you probably more times than you want to hear, that most people live their life thinking that the glass is half full or half empty. I see the glass as overflowing with opportunity. And when we change the way that we think about who we are and what we can accomplish, that's the real start of moving to the next level from promise to purpose.
So good. So good.
So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
You there,
That's
Coach?
That's it. You know what? And for those who are out there, we're having a few connection issues. I can see it on my end. Yeah, that was good, man.
Yeah.
Give me just a moment. We're having
we're both good, Coach. You might have to jump back out and jump back in. But it's funny because when we talk about Reconstruction, Marv, I'm thinking about how when we built this house that we live in, we it was being constructed, it was being built. And I think about the construction process of it. If the foundation of the home is cracked or something is wrong with the foundation, they will condemn the home. But if the drywalls or anything wrong with the plumbing or anything, all these little things that we have to deal with when you're in a home for over a period of time, if any of that stuff goes messed up or something happens to those things, like, it's okay. So if you break a bone, you pull a muscle, you tear a muscle, you sprain your knee, you tear an ACL, you mess up, you're okay. But the internal foundation, which is your heart, your spirit, your lungs, all of that stuff is the foundation of the home. The same thing is the foundation of yourself. If that is damaged, then now you're going to have big problems. So I just wanted to kind of share that, because I think about when we talk about Reconstruction, we've got to think about from the inside out, not just from the outside in. Because a lot of times people will look at us right down, they'll look at us from the outside and only see the outside perspective of things, but they never see. And I know you got something to share about, that from that perspective. They'll never see like the whole Reconstruction. Like, where do we come from? What do we do? And how many failures? Something I always like to say, and I'll say this and I'll hand it back over to you, Darryl. Like, something I always like to say in Simple Intelligence is failure is the prerequisite for success. You ask any successful person in the world, have they ever failed? And I guarantee you they're going to say, yes, I failed. So don't you think just because your business has failed, don't you think just because you got fired, don't you think because you failed a class that you're a failure? No, it's a prerequisite, which means that this is what you've taken before you get to your success. And your success is determined by yourself, what you determine success to be.
Well, you just laid that up for where we're about to go with this conversation. I love that, man, because you just laid up, because the reality is that's what I'm trying to get to this year with folks. You know what I mean? And this, I don't want folks, this is going to be a little different for people because they're so used to you just, us coming in and you just, you get everybody fired up, man. We do. I love that.
Yeah.
What I want folks to do is get fired up about outcomes this year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to. I'm gonna share a story. I know both of you have heard this, but there's a lot of folks out there haven't heard this before. So y'all just got to sit back and listen to it again. But I'm gonna share one more time. Right? But I met a man by the name. Thank you, Stu. I appreciate your response, man. I met a man by the name of Earl Stafford. Now, Pierre, you've heard me say this man's name 1,000 times. And Earl built a company by the name of Unitech. And Unitech was the Army simulation company, man. I hope Earl's out there hearing this. Earl, I'm talking about you if you are, because I know he's on these social media sites too. But he was a great inspiration to me because I read an article on him in USA Today many, many years ago. And this is part of the determination process too. I was determined that somehow this man needs to meet me. Now, you know that's arrogant, right? You got to spread in USA Today and you need to meet me, man. We need to meet. And so I called this guy. I emailed this guy. I called his office so many times. The secretary knew me by a first name. Like, this is Daryl calling again. And so I said, I said, I don't want him to do anything for me. I'm not asking for anything. I just want what's in here. I want to learn, how did he build this company from scratch to a, $100-something million company? He's a man of God, a believer. Like, how did he do this? I just was so intrigued because not too many people get half-page spreads in USA Today. So I was in my office one time early in the morning, around 5:30. I usually arrive around 6:30, but for some reason, I just felt compelled to be there a little early. And about 5:45, my phone rang. And I picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Daryl, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing fine." I said, I'm like, "Who's this?" He said, "This is Earl Stafford." And I almost dropped the phone. And I said, "Hey, Mr. Stafford, how you doing?" Right? He said, "You want to know why I'm calling you at 5:45 in the morning? Because I want to see if you committed." He said, "If you want to be a business owner, if you wouldn't pick up that phone, that would have been the last time I would have called." He said, "You passed step number one." So he said, "Come on down to my office." He said, "You available next Tuesday?" I said, I looked at my calendar. My calendar was fully full. I said, "Oh, yeah, I got time in on Tuesday." Man, I started rearranging my schedule. I told folks I'll meet with you later. And I drove right down to Fairfax, Virginia. And he gave me a statement that I want everybody to get for this year. We sat down in his office. The first thing he said to me, just straight out the back, besides the fact that Jesus is the CEO of his company, he was clear on that. But this is what he said. "Daryl, let me tell you something. You connected with me for a reason. You saw something that drew you to me because you've seen the outcome. That's what you're seeing as an outcome." He said, "But young man, let me tell you what I did that most people never do that led to this kind of outcome." He said, "Most folks get excited about the dream. Most folks tell everybody in the world about the dream. Most folks that say they can do this, we can accomplish this, I can do this and do that." He said, "Man, let me tell you something, and don't forget it. P, you know what I'm about to say." He said, "Don't fall in love with the dream. Fall in love with the process. Don't fall in love with the dream. Fall in love with the process. Because it's the process that gets you to your dream." What you're seeing today, young man, what you saw in USA Today was a byproduct of a process that I had to go through. Because you wouldn't have reached out to me if you would have seen my wife 5 years ago sitting in a rocking chair with a candle saying, "Get a job." What are you doing with this business thing? Get a job.
Come on. Yes.
Yep.
And I was so frustrated. I wanted to jump out the window, but when I went to pull the window up, paint was so dry at the bottom of it, I couldn't even pull the window up to jump out of it. See, people don't understand, man. It's process. You know what I mean? And I so appreciate them sharing that with me because, especially for entrepreneurs out here, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like you go through these challenges, these ups and downs, then you finally hit a lane. And he hit the lane. Now, he just recently sold his business a few years ago to Lockheed Martin for $500 million. But he had to go through the process. Talk to me, Marv. How important is that, man, from a mindset perspective?
Incredibly important because one, it gives you direction, right?
Yeah.
And it allows you the opportunity to develop habits that will allow you to succeed above and beyond the dream itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, coach, it's important, and we do it for each other, whether we are intentional about it or not. We find people who will hold us accountable.
There you go.
Accountability partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are not going to allow you to find every excuse not to, or to delay it, right? It's about making sure that you surround yourself in this journey with people who are committed themselves. Because iron sharpens iron.
Big time.
We know that, right? And that might be an old saying, but the reality is what? If you don't surround yourself with people who will challenge you, charge you. Now, I get that there's 4 important C's, right? Compassion, right? Consideration, but there's also charge and challenge. And we have to place them properly, right? When you're embarking on a dream that you want to fulfill, You need someone who will charge you and challenge you throughout the process. And you've all have heard this, and I use it all the time. Excuses are tools of the incompetent, used to build monuments of nothingness. And those that specialize in their use are seldom capable of anything else. Therefore, there be no excuses, please. You feel me? There's no time for excuses, right?
You gotta stop it, man.
That's wasted time.
Wasted
How do we write it down, Pierre, right? We can talk all day long, but if you don't write it down and put it right in front of you that you see every single day as a reminder of what you committed yourself to, and secondary, being reminded of who's going to be impacted by your success, who will equally be impacted by your failure.
Man, come on.
And that's the motivation, right? That there's a why that's so deep.
That's so deep.
I get up in the morning when I don't, you get up, my wife said, you feel like doing this one? I said, I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it because I'm committed to you. If I decide to make a decision because only when I feel like it, well, we're not going to get anywhere in life, right? Do you feel like it? No, I don't feel like it. I'm going to go ahead and get it done so it's over. Does that make sense? I'm the only one. I'm just saying.
Marv, slow clap.
Hey, listen, I'm going to throw mine in there. As I was coming to do this right here, my wife wanted some link sausage upstairs. I was like, I got 2 minutes to get on this. Well, can you bring me some link sausage? No, I had to be committed. Marv.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. But no.
Right. So it can't be about do we do it because we feel like it.
You do it because you're committed.
You get up because you're committed, right? And that there are people who are counting on you that you haven't met yet.
Yeah. You know what I want to do right now, fellas? I want to go a little bit into what I really want folks to kind of start thinking about now, because you've all laid a foundation, and I hope folks out there taking notes, because this is not just a bunch of dudes running mouth. These are guys that get invited into big companies, corporations, businesses, organizations, and agencies to share information. So we're not just some guys talking for the sake of talking. We're highly sought after for the work that we do, and we're committed to it because we love the work. But what I really want folks this year to start thinking about is the process of reconstruction. And what I mean by that is, we can say reinvention, because I love reinvention. I have a book, Reinvention, The Pathway to Job Search Success. So I understand reinvention. But what I'm coming to understand, in particular in the midst of all this COVID stuff with the crisis, is the internal and introspective challenges that people are facing. The trauma that folks are facing, the issues with family, the labor market. Folks just don't even want to go to work anymore. The folks are staying home. And because I believe a lot of it has to do with the trauma of COVID. I think we got scared out of our minds for a year, and some folks not quite over that yet. So there's other factors. I mean, there's research-based factors. But what I want to kind of pivot to just a little bit is this mindset piece thing. Because this is what I believe, fellas. And I know it to be true from a Christian perspective, spiritually, but also naturally, there's things that take place that are a byproduct, which what they're called neurological pathways, that we create by doing things over and over again consistently. So for instance, if we start doing something and we stop, let's say we create a habit, I'm gonna stop eating this particular food, and 2 days later I'm eating that food again. It's like we go back to doing it quickly. What has happened is we've carved out in our minds a pathway that's taken us there. You know what I mean? And so it's almost like what we got to start looking at. And for me, there's 2 ways to go about this. Is we got to look at, how do I reconstruct my thinking so that I can get on a path that's going to take me to my destiny? And all those other distractions are just that, distractions. I got to fight through it. So here's the deal, fellas. That's not a battle with somebody else. That's a battle with me.
That's right.
That's my own battle, my own struggle. That may come from a myriad of things. It could be upbringing. It could be relationships. It could be what a boss said to me. It could be a variety of things. So here's the thing, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all experts, man. All right, I really believe that most of the challenge that people face ain't got nothing to do with other people. Got to do with what we internalize. Am I right or wrong with that?
Oh my goodness, you're right on spot, right?
Yeah.
See, we've been taught to believe that you go to school, you get a high school diploma, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job. You work there 40 years, you retire 40 years, and live off 40% of what you couldn't live off with 100% that you had.
Right.
And so there's no opportunity to look outside of that paradigm, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we feel obligated to follow a process that we've never evaluated, that we never opened up and took a deeper dive, right? I'll give you an example. I remember when I decided to leave higher education and start doing business full time. People thought I was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
You're leaving a job in your position and management level. You're an associate dean at an institution. You're making a wonderful salary, and you're going to chance that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The only way you move from great to greatness is that you have to be willing to make the decisions that are most uncomfortable for most people.
Yeah.
And it's outside of what you've been taught to believe. I think we've been taught to be limited in our thinking and limited in who we could become and the kind of people that we could impact.
Yeah.
Because if we listen to what we were taught to believe, it's limited.
Yeah.
And I felt that, man, from people, from loved ones and family and friends who were talking about me behind my back. Like, can you believe this dude?
Yeah.
Really? What they didn't understand is that my dream was bigger than my circumstances.
Yep.
My dream was bigger than the space that I was in. And both of you can appreciate this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't work, don't have a job. That's not.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying. Nope.
About that.
Nope.
I'm just saying that God had gifted me to do something above and beyond that, and I couldn't do it in a space that restricted me, and a job restricted me. See, but when I had the freedom, right? When I got outside of that space, my creativity exploded because I wasn't limited. I could think as far and as fast and as deep as I wanted to.
Yep.
So absolutely. I can't allow the words that have been placed over me in my lifetime to define who I am and who I could become. So first I needed to what? Recognize the words that were hovered over me.
Yep.
And then rewrite my own script. Not the words that people say, you'll be like your brother. You'll never amount to anything. Why don't you just get a job in the factory like everybody else?
Yep.
So I decided to write my own script. That today is the first day of the rest of my life. Right? And what I do today will matter forever.
Forever.
So let's get kick-started, right?
Yeah.
So you're right, Coach. You nailed it, right?
Yeah.
It's not about anybody else. It's about how we see ourselves.
How we process.
How we hold ourselves accountable and how we process.
Yeah.
How we process this dream, right?
Yeah.
And Pierre knocked it out a moment ago, right? If my foundation isn't strong, you waste a whole lot of energy and time because it will fall apart.
It will
so
fall
I'd rather spend all the time on the front end, Coach, whatever it takes, so that the back end is a lot more smoother.
Yeah, man.
And so you put in the investment in the beginning.
Love it, man. Love it. Let me say this, Pete. I'm gonna let you jump in real quick, but I'm gonna say this because I want to kind of what Marv was saying is just led for me to really think about this because this is what I want folks to get, Pete. This is gonna be a little different. We talking about this year. It's not that here come Coach and P and Marv, all us. They gonna get us fired up. No, we're gonna say slow down and breathe for a minute.
Breathe.
And what I need for you to do is think.
Yep.
What's holding you back?
Yep.
That's a serious question I gotta ask. Now listen, it's not always something crazy. It could be I'm just a major procrastinator. Why do you procrastinate? See, everything has something attached to it. Like, why do I do that? You know what I mean? I don't manage my time well. People can distract me like in 2.3 seconds. They call and like, oh yeah, I got a project due, but let's talk for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
And like, why do you jump on that call when you know that project is due in 4 hours? You're gonna waste 2 talking to somebody. So it's a lot of, we got to reanalyze the way we do things. But this is what I'm trying to get to. This is not like, I'm not even talking about time management. I'm talking about why do I allow myself, what's inside of me that allows me not to see that as a priority and divert my energy away from something that's going to produce for me. You know, and because this for something I just want to do because somebody's asked me to do it. So that's why I'm looking at this mindset. And this is a touchy subject because everyone has different perspectives on it. But the reality is we all are a byproduct in some way of our habits. It's the things that we do. You know, I've analyzed, you all have analyzed, you know, highly successful people. You've read the books and you've listened to the seminars. One thing you find with these folks, you know, built these big businesses or even career-wise, built these big careers is a deep-rooted sense of commitment and focus. Talk to me, Pierre, because I know that's, you know, all about that.
Oh yeah.
And focus.
Yeah.
But that's internal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely internal.
Isn't it?
And I love what you said, Marv, about your dream.
Yeah.
You know, because that is a part of the process. If you talk about having commitment and focus over a period of time, Bob Proctor says it's a paradigm shift. You use the word paradigm, Marv, and that's what he talks about. It's a paradigm shift, shifting your paradigm. And the secret to shifting your paradigm is so simple that we kind of don't give value to it, or we don't give it credit. And it's programming. Programming. And we're all sitting and using some type of technology right now that has been programmed that allows us to correspond and communicate via Delaware, Pennsylvania, and DMV, the Northern Virginia. You know, this is amazing. And then now all these people all over the world are watching us, but it's all programming. I deal with a lot of coaching with engineers. And the way they think in their minds, they're so strategic in their thinking and analytical in their thinking. So when I talk to them, I talk to them about the idea of programming something and realizing that when we talk about process and commitment, this programming has been programmed into our minds and our subconscious minds over a long period of time. I always say this: if I said played the first couple of notes of your favorite song, right now you would remember every word. Why is that? That's because of programming. And what it is the art of repetition. So there's something called space-time repetition. So over a period of time, you keep playing something over and over and over, it's going to go into your subconscious mind. And so what I would encourage everybody to do is just continue to make sure that you guard your gates. You've heard me, anybody that's heard me speak, they always hear me say, guard your gates. Guard your gates to what, Pierre? Guard your gates to your mind. And I'm pointing my head, but your mind is all of you, your whole being. Guard your gates to your mind. What am I saying? Guard what you look at consistently over time, because it goes into your subconscious mind. Guard what you listen to consistently over time, because it goes into your head, into your mind over time. Guard what you speak, because the words that you speak actually go back right into you.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy, friend.
There it is. So this is what we talk about with the process. So all the people that we've studied over time, and you all that are studying us, and we continue to study all the successful people that are out there. The process was simple. They say common sense is not common. That's right. It's common sense is not common. Common sense is something that we've learned over a period of time. That's why we call it common sense. We call it common sense,
but it ain't common.
But it's not common everywhere.
No, you're on it, man. One thing I just realized I can do, and I can show folks comments. So I'm going to put up Dr. Brittany Hazard's comment. Yeah, and I know Dr. Hazard, she's a good friend of mine. The thinking was limited, and your dream is limitless. I love it. See, Dr. Hazard, I just figured out, I didn't even know we could do this. So now I know. So if you comment, I may pull your comment up with your picture. So yeah, thank you for that, man. But that's it, man. And the thing about it is, the reality of it is, Pierre, is that each individual has to go on this journey themselves.
Bam. That's it.
I can't do it for you. You can't do it for me. No. I can't come to Marv's house and say, Marv, I'm going to come over and do everything. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to show you. No, I can't. No. First of all, his queen and daughter probably ain't going to want me over there. Say, who's this crazy man over our house, Dad? Get him on out of here. But I want everybody out there that's watching to hear my voice and hear me clearly. Don't wait for somebody else to get you going. You get yourself going.
Yeah.
And you start to analyze yourself. You got to do self-analysis.
Yes.
And don't sit and tell me that's just who I am. No, you're not. You become that. If you procrastinate, or if you got an attitude problem, or if you're not that. You become that. And the reason I can tell you, because when I was a little boy, I was the most argumentative, angry little boy you want to meet in your entire life. Y'all know me today, but if y'all know me at 10, y'all wouldn't want to talk to me. I mean, if you knew me at 15, I probably wanted to take a bat and pop you upside your head. But that's what I was. until somebody from Westinghouse Corporation told me, you got tons of potential, but your attitude is going to kill your future. I was like, huh?
Can I say something, Daryl? You said the word potential.
Yeah.
Marv, I hated that word.
Mm-hmm.
I only hated one word in the English vocabulary, and it was potential. Let me tell you why. Because all coming up, some may know, but of course, I went to Cheyney University of Pennsylvania, the first historical Black university in the United States of America.
Yes, sir. Make that clear.
I think it's very important for people to get his history. Okay, the first. Okay, back on up, Lincoln. Back on up. I see you. All right. So wait a minute, but I played 5 years of college football, not like when Daryl was playing. He won. My team won one college football game in the 5 years that I played. Now, I was great. And I'm not afraid to say that I was great. And it's proof out there that I was great at what I did. Here's the thing. I kept hearing, Pierre, you have potential from coaches, NFL coaches. Pierre, you have potential. My coaches, some of my coaches, Pierre, you have potential. And I didn't understand the definition of the word. So I hated the word because I didn't understand the definition. So context is very important when you're talking about reconstructing your life, getting a process into your personal. That's why I had to jump in there, because once you said the word potential, I remember when I heard the word potential, I hated it, y'all. I hated it. But I did not ever look it up in the dictionary.
To understand.
Never looked it up.
Yeah.
Never understood the word and what it meant. And so you're talking about potential from a perspective that is inspiring, right? But then I talked about a potential from a word that I made up in my head, a definition. I'm sorry, a definition that I made up in my own mind.
Yeah. And see, but then you started to figure out over time why you went and researched. You read about this thing. And this is what we're talking about. That, like that book said right in the back, is simple intelligence. This is simple intelligence. It's like you're not asking people to do complicated stuff. Like what I'm asking now is like the folks I'm coaching. I got coaching. With corporate coaching clients and different, but also I have some individuals I'm coaching. And the first thing I have them doing in January, and for some of them it's frustrating. I say, I don't want to hear nothing about what you're going to accomplish this year, except in the next January, you're going to focus on how you're going to change your mindset. I don't want to hear about any big goals. I want to hear about how did you shift your attitude? How are you seeing yourself differently? How are you, let's use biblical scripture, bringing those thoughts into captivity that try to keep rising up over and over and over again. Why is it trying to do? It's trying to capture you. Yep. It's trying to snare you into, because it's become comfortable with that. You've given it liberty to allow me to be angry or to be responsive to people in a negative way. That's just Sally. That's how she talks to people. No, that ain't how folks. That ain't how you see, you now defining Sally or Johnny or Jimmy or Frank or whoever. And so people hear that and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, that's just who I am. And like, really? It is not. So what I'm saying is, man, that I want people to work on one or two things that internally that need to be changed. You know what I mean? Just need to be changed. Do I need to change the way that I go about my day? Do I need to change the way I respond to situations? Do I need to change the way I lead? Because it's not just for people going for businesses. It could be a leader in a corporation. I don't lead effectively. I have a fear model of leadership. My people work for me, but they're scared of me. So these are all things that are mindset driven. And we have to work on them ourselves, or we will never change. And that's when we get to Miles Monroe, right? Yeah. Where he talks about in the graveyard.
Yes.
Here's your, in the graveyard. You know what I mean? Diamond mines of South Africa or the oil fields of Saudi Arabia, man. He said, in the graveyard, you got potential that remains potential. That goes back to your word again, but there it is. And so what I'm hoping when we talk about reconstruction, that folks are willing to do what we did in my home. If you saw my living room, my kitchen, about 9 months ago, you would have come over for dinner, but you would have been looking around like, this is interesting. because we've been in this house for 24 years and we raised 4 kids up in this joint. So, a lot of doors slam, cabinets slam, tables, So we got 4 kids. We ain't thinking about it. Then my wife said, you know what? Kobe got me to thinking we need to do something with this house. You know what I mean? And all I'm thinking is about how much we got to spend on this. And it started with the kitchen. Next thing you know, it was the living room, then the dining room, then the office. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. We talking about a year. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. But my wife did something on Instagram that's so powerful. Pierre and Marvin, she put what the place looked like and what it looks like today. You know what you call that, friends? Reconstruction. We had to tear those walls down. I hated walking around this house with my walls down, man. Floors ripped up. We were like for months with all this dust everywhere. I'm sitting there, we eating from DoorDash, okay, because our stove was out of here. But now you walk in this place and you see a beautiful home, man. Beautiful kitchen, beautiful living room, beautiful dining room. Why? We reconstructed. And that's what we want folks to start doing. And reconstruction can be a little bit messy.
Yeah. Coach, if I can.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you
Please
a question.
do.
When it was, because we went through the same process here.
Yeah.
When it was over.
Yeah.
The finished product.
Yes, sir.
Right? What was your takeaway? Right? That going through all the hassle of inconvenience.
Yeah.
This is in my way. I'm habitual and I'm used to going in this direction. I got to redirect. And then the end product arrives, right? What's the takeaway?
Can I? Okay, you want me to come clean? You want me to tell you the truth? Here, I had to apologize to my wife.
That's right. Because you couldn't see it.
I couldn't see it.
She could see it.
She could see it.
And that's the point, right? I don't care what you decide you want to do. You have to see it, right? Because here's the thing, right? And I said this to you before. If I'm going to build, and you guys know I do a lot of work in helping organizations and corporations build inclusive workplace environments, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say like a puzzle. I don't know about the two of you, but I take that box and put it beside the pieces because it tells me what the finished product would look like. So why do I do that? To eliminate the detours. Why am I going to spend hours trying to create something, but I don't know what the end product should look like?
Come on now.
If I can see the visual of what I want it to be like eventually, I am more motivated now than ever. I don't just have a vision. I know what it looks like, feels like, what it ought to sound like, and I'm motivated by that. But I need to be able to see it. And to your earlier point, and I say this to everybody, if you're looking to move to the next level in your life, personally, professionally, in your business, there's some people in your life that you're going to have to let go of.
Big time.
Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying stop loving them, stop checking in on them. That's not what I'm saying. That if you got 100% day, you better not spend 80% of your day with those people.
Come on.
Now you can give them 5% here and there because you love them, but sometimes they can be toxic.
Yeah,
I'm just keeping it real.
Come on,
your family, your friends.
Come on, bring it, brother.
The reality is that they want to talk about the same stuff they've been talking about for the last 30 years.
And it ain't working.
It doesn't help you.
Come on.
You surround yourselves with people, right? And I'll close with this, Coach Pierre. If I'm looking to move to the next level, and Coach, your example is amazing, right? With the gentleman that you met that finally called you.
Yeah.
If I consider myself to be a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, and I want to be a 10, why am I hanging out with 5, 6, 4, 3, 2s, and 1s?
Yeah.
Why am I the smartest person in the room? How do I grow when I'm the smartest person in the room? You don't.
Yeah.
No.
You don't. You position yourself. If you're not positioning yourself to be uncomfortable,
it ain't gonna happen.
Grow.
It ain't gonna happen.
For those of you who fear, the reason you don't move because you're uncomfortable, right? Let me say this to you: the more time you spend being uncomfortable, the more uncomfortable becomes comfortable.
I love that.
And that's when you begin to move in ways you never anticipated that you could do. And so it's possible.
Brother, let me tell you something, man. Think about athletes. You think about people we admire. Let me just say this, because it's in line with what you're saying. Because folks go to movies, they go to see athletic events.
Yeah.
And they'll spend a life, buy shirts, jerseys, wear stuff on people's back, their names. Them folks live in discomfort. We ball players. Man, I hated them summer camps. I hated 99 degrees with pads on, running hills, having to get in the gym where everybody else hanging at the mall and going to the beach. Actors have to learn those lines over. You see the end product, but that was a 1-year project where they're not with their family. They're not with their friends. They're going over those scripts. They're doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And what Marv just said, now they're on the set with people who think just like they think.
Yes. Yes.
They're on the field with people who think just like they think.
That's right.
And so what they're doing is they're running together. And the whole world don't even know that they're running. They're all in that little lane running, if it's a team or if it's a set for an acting thing. And then what we do, we see the finished product is, I admire that person, but you don't know what that person went through for you to see that end product. And most of us aren't willing to make that kind of sacrifice. Marv, you said something I have to just tap into for 2 seconds. Then Pierre, I want you to jump in. And that is the thing of letting people go. There's a saying that I use all the time, and people this year, please hear me when I say this. And this one is more centered around people close to you, not far from you, but close to you. And that is go where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
Oh, that's so good.
Go where you are celebrated, not tolerated. People who think the way you think as far as what they're going to celebrate you. Yeah, come on, man. I feel you on that. So, man, you like, yeah, Marv, like we all get together. Oh, shoot, man, what you talking? Let's get it. But people who tolerate you, they're going to talk about you. You're going to be negative. They're going to say negative things about you. And here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, you ain't even do nothing to merit that, except live your life. That's all it is. Write your books or, speak at your conferences, or you didn't do anything. But they're tolerating you because of what Marv just said. You got this dream and this vision, and they can't relate to it because they got you in a box. This is who you are, and now you're something else that I don't think you should be. That has killed more dreams.
Yes.
Talk to me, fellas. That has killed more dreams than anything else. Talk to me, fellas. Am I right?
Yeah, you're so right. And I think, I know from personal experience, I can tell all of you this, that we have this natural way of putting our expectations on others.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I'm growing from the perspective of making sure that I don't put my expectations on other people, whether it be my family members or my close family members, my friends, because it's not fair. It's not fair, or even my clients, or the people that I'm coaching or my coachees. It's not fair. What I'm responsible for truly is communicating effectively what it is that I either want or what I'm intending. And if I communicate it effectively, I have to release the expectation that I'm going to get something in return. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know who that is going to help, but I'm telling you, it helped me because I am a giver, but I also realize as a giver, what that has done to me is it made me come from a position of expectation. Give you a perfect example. Something real simple. I like a deal in simple. When I say I love you, you expect, I expect, we expect I love you back. But if I say I love you and I don't have any expectations whether you say I love you back or not, guess what? That's the way it actually is. It's not putting your expectations on someone else. I hope that makes sense for you. The other thing I want to say to the point that Marv was making, and you were making earlier as well, Darryl, is we say I got to see it to believe it, which is true. We got to see it to believe it. But let's get deeper into that thought process of see it. Where do you see it? Marv said he saw it because he saw the vision. He put the puzzle next to the puzzle box next to the puzzles pieces. Well, the person that created it, that person created it and saw it in their mind. You know, Earl Nightingale says the greatest secret is people don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple as that. Okay. Yeah. And if you think about it, it's true. Everything has to come from the greatest nation. And what is the greatest nation?
Your imagination.
Your imagination. Exactly. So when we think about all this, you know, we talk about Reconstruction and we talk about reinventing, and we talk about helping people to see themselves from a different perspective. You have to, you as an individual, I'm talking to you, you have to see it for yourself before you see it come to fruition. And sometimes it's fake it till you make it. Yes, that thing is real.
Yes, it is.
It's real. It's fake it till you make it. Yeah. Why? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I lost. I was on a team that won in 5 years, one college football game, and still ended up playing arena football. How did that happen? Because I saw myself. I knew I was on a team, but I knew myself, and I saw myself as a professional football player.
Yep.
And so that's what it takes as an individual. You have to have the vision to see things before you see it in the natural.
That's it.
So, you know, I just want to make sure I shared that, Mark.
Pierre, you know what? You said on a couple occasions that in 5 years you won one game.
One game.
I beg to differ.
Come on.
Here's why.
Now we talk about perspective. Show me the perspective.
Come on now.
Because I know what you. I think I know where you're going.
Here's the deal. If at the end of every game you played, you gave everything you had,
you didn't lose.
You did all the preparation that created the competence, that created the confidence, and you went out and you delivered. You didn't let anyone down, including yourself.
Come on.
My friend, you were victorious.
Come on.
Let me tell you this. Because you had a system of preparation, and you left that field, and I know you in the little time I've known you, my friend, I know you did all you could to help that team win. But you individually were victorious.
Yes, sir.
See, let's not always see failure as failure, but an opportunity to examine what I did individually, right? And I say to my students all the time, well, to my clients too, preparation breeds competence, and competence breeds confidence, which gives you permission to walk with a swagger.
Come on.
It's not boastful. It's not arrogant. It's when you walk into a room and someone says, "Who is that?"
Yep.
And I got to introduce myself to that individual. There's a swagger about him or her. You know why? Because they understand the power of preparation.
Come on now.
That breeds the competence, that gives us a confidence to walk into a room and people see you and want to know who you are. See, when you walked on that field, my friend, people knew we might be losing, but I'm going to go see Pierre.
They knew
100%.
Yeah.
Right? And that's important.
They knew.
The earlier point, I just had to get that before I forgot it. The other part, right? I don't know about you, but I've been gracefully broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been gracefully broken. And what I mean by that, Coach, when you talk about people in your life, right? People only want to tolerate you, not celebrate you.
Yeah.
Right? And in your brokenness, those people will not run towards you. They will run away from you.
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah.
You'll find out that the only answer and the only solution is inside of you.
Yep.
And let me be real clear about this. If those of you out there doubting whether or not you can, you've already been equipped.
There it is.
We need to coach you how to access what you already have.
And that's what we want to do. That's
and
it right
begins with what? Giving yourself credit and knowing that you have what it takes to be successful. You have to control fear, not fear control you. And once you've done that, and once you've allowed yourself to be uncomfortable, and once you understand the importance of consistency and habits that will grow you internally and externally, that's when it begins. And lastly, surround yourself with people like I do. I surround myself with incredible people like this, who not only care about what they do, but care about the impact that it has on the people that they come in contact with. And so today is the first day of the rest of your life, but you first have to make a decision. Will you? Will you, in spite of what it appears to be like, in spite of what you might have experienced before, in spite of any failure you've ever experienced, right? Find someone that can give you feedback, because feedback is the breakfast of champions.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You fellas going back. I feel like I'm about ready. I'm about to sit back and just take some notes. That's all I want to do right now. I mean, I'm serious, man, because this stuff right here, and I want y'all to hear what's coming. And we're going to get ready to wrap this up, but I want you to hear what's being said today. We're not feeding you. We're not feeding you candy here.
No.
We ain't feeding you cake. We're feeding you meat, man. We're feeding you something that can nourish your body. Because every year people come out with these things, and it's always a bunch of, and I'm okay with that because I get it. I understand the power of it.
Yeah.
But remember something, and don't ever forget this for this year. Please don't forget this. Motivation is the fuel, but strategy is the vehicle. Try driving a car with no gas. It ain't going nowhere. But try with gas without a car is useless. It's just gas.
That's right.
And you throw a flame on it, just going burning up, and you're going to be, So we got to realize there's a 2-part aspect to this, man. We got to have the fuel, but we got to have the strategy. But for the sake of this, a couple of things, 3 things I want you to reconstruct this year. And we're not done. You're going to see a lot of these 3 folks right here. You're going to see a lot of us because we're going to just keep feeding this stuff, man. We'll keep putting out there. All right. We want you to reconstruct your mindset. There's great books out there. Read it. Now, obviously, I would always say the Bible is a great one because just as a believer, that's where I got a lot of my strength from. But then also there's books like Dr. Carol Dweck's book, Growth Mindset, which talks about mindset. It talks about growth and fixed mindset. I think it's one of the best books out there because most people lived in a fixed mindset.
Yes.
They don't live in growth mindset. Growth mindset, what's the potential? Fixed mindset, this is just how it is. 2 different mindsets. All right. And then also reconstruct, and Pierre and Marvin have talked about this at length today, your interactions.
Yes. There's
some folk that in 2022, you're going to love them from a real far distance. Can I get an amen? From a distance. Like, I've been running with you like daily for the last 10 years, but this is it. I'll see you in June.
That's a long race.
That's what I'm saying. I catch up with you this summer, but you ain't doing nothing but draining me all the time. You gotta, if you want to achieve what you gotta achieve, you have got to reconstruct your interaction. These guys right here are part of my very small inner circle. When I mean small, it is small, and I purposely make it that way because I don't need a lot of voices. I need people who we have mutual respect for, that we do work together with. We're here to encourage each other, not tear each other down. We're here to be real with each other when we need to be, because they always pats on the back. But so you want folks like that. Now, there's associates and acquaintances. You get to dinner with them, hang out with them, do all that. But when you talk about running, make that a real small group of people. You don't need a lot. Yeah. And then the last thing is, and y'all definitely may give me an amen for this one. Just reconstruct your expectations. Just reconstruct them. Don't allow people to disappoint you this year. People are wired to disappoint sometimes. And if you have this false expectations of someone and they're not delivering, then you feel all messed up because they're not doing what you expected to do, and they don't even know you have an expectation of them to think. It ain't even fair.
It's not fair to them. It's not fair to you.
It ain't fair. I always tell folks, and Pierre, we do a lot even with married couples. I always say with married couples, I say half the battles is y'all got expectations of each other that the other person don't even know what you have.
Yeah.
And then you get mad at them because they don't know what you're thinking. You say, well, why didn't you know what I was thinking? Because I didn't know what you were thinking. I just didn't know. I'm not in your mind. Right. And that's the same way it is with people in relationships. Mark, maybe talk this for just a moment. But even in the workplace, right? And Pierre, you can jump in with that too, man. Folks get these little attitudes and dispositions with each other, and they never even talk to each other. They built these expectations and perceptions about folks without even realizing, do I really even know what that person is thinking? Am I right about that? We're going to wrap this up, but y'all see what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness, right? People go around holding grudges about things that never happened.
Never happened.
Right? Or lack of interpretation, right?
Yes.
Or we never asked for clarity. And then when we find out that, oh, that's what you meant.
Yes.
10 years later.
Yep.
And we walked around with this weight on our shoulders, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you get to a point, I don't know if you've ever been like this in your life, there's something important about forgiving.
Yeah.
Right? Because I remember walking into a room and there would be a guy that would be in the room that I'm in, and it would change my whole physical being.
Yeah.
I had such a dislike for this individual because of something that happened. Right? You can't give people that kind of control over your life. Then when I began to re-examine the interaction, how we got here, it was nothing. It was senseless.
Yep.
Right? And so the key is communication.
Yeah.
It is not, as I think Pierre might have mentioned before, and you hear me talk about this a lot. Let's stop making assumptions about people based on what we see.
Yep.
Right? Based on their appearance. Right? And let's take a deeper dive in what we thought we heard. Right? That's why I think summarization is so important. So, Coach, let me get it right. So you're telling me, no, Marv, that's not what I meant at all. Good, clarity. Because I don't want to walk away from that thinking that I'm supposed to be doing this, and I spend a week on it, and you tell me it's wrong. What do you mean it's wrong? That's what you told me to do. That's not what I told you to do at all. Are you kidding me? Well, we need to end that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be clear before I leave the office.
Yes.
You want me to do A, B, C, and D, and you want me to do it in this direction? Yes. And if no, give me clarity so that I can spend quality time doing what I'm expected to do. But yeah, Coach, we're walking around mad at each other for no apparent reason other than a lack of communication.
Or no communication.
Or zero communication.
Or zero communication. And then just giving this for the folks who are, because what we're talking about, not just Reconstruction as far as jobs, career, and business, which is like managers and business, because that's a lot of work we do.
That's what we do.
We consulting folks about, diversity, equity, inclusion, and core values and teamwork. And we're saying, hey, a lot of your problems with your staff or certain staff members is you ain't really effectively communicating with them. You guys are building assumptions about each other, and you know it because you hear it all the time. That manager is this way. That manager is that way. Then you talk to the manager like, that manager not like that at all. Where did folks get this from? Because until you talk to folks, you really don't get to know folks.
Coach, real quick, and stop allowing someone else to tell you who they are.
Yeah.
I am not going to make a decision about Pierre because of what Carla told me about Pierre.
Well, that'll save a lot of folks right there.
Yeah, I want to know Pierre because I sat down with Pierre, and after our conversation, we did what? We bonded, right? We built on common interests, understood each other's occupational exploration, was able to identify a need that they had, and then be able to deliver a solution or a problem because we sat down and we established relationships, right? And let me leave you with this. People are 75% more likely to do business with you when you've had a conversation with them about something other than business.
Come on. Yes. It's relationship.
It's relationship.
And when you talk about, Marv, when you talk about this whole talk about the whole concept of communicating, I want to recommend this book. I recommend to all my coachees, and we recommend it to our clients as well. It's Crucial Conversations. All right. So I would definitely recommend that book. Why? Because we deal with people all the time, and people are always going through something. I say that all the time right in the beginning of all of my trainings or all of my courageous conversations. I say, if you think about people from the perspective of that person is going through something, every single individual that you're interacting with is going through something. That will put you in a state of mind of compassion or empathy before you go in with your expectations. So when we talk about that, we talk about, okay, now if I'm dealing with someone that's a manager that's not actually speaking to me, communicating consistently, effectively, with clarity enough with me over a period of time, it's maybe because I'm not managing up, which simply is communicating effectively with your manager. Or I'm an executive and I'm dealing with my direct reports, and because they're high-level executives, I'm not holding them account. I don't necessarily have to communicate with them consistently every week or every day. So now, because that disconnect is there's a misunderstanding. There's a lack of support. There's a lack of constructive feedback. There's a lack of not constructive criticism, constructive feedback. Yes. Which therefore builds accountability over time and builds trust. Because one of the things that we always say to people when it comes from management coaching is that your direct reports don't necessarily trust you.
Yep.
Why? Because you have the authority, because of your position, to fire them. And so if we can get that into our minds from a leadership perspective, and whatever level of you are in there in the company, if you can understand that, okay, that person, they may not trust me that way and going up and down. There may not be trust in the organization. That means that we need to communicate. Yeah. And we need to start studying how to communicate effectively. And so that's what I help people to do, because I'm thinking every day, you know, I coach a lot of people. We coach a lot of people, and executives and managers and leaders and new leaders all the time. And half of it is because of communication. They're just not clearly communicating what they actually want because of fear. And I'll just bring that one thing back up that Marv said. Fear stops people and creates a sense of imposter syndrome. And that imposter syndrome is because you don't believe what that vision of yourself is, of who you are. Yeah, you got to fake it till you make it. You know why? Because you don't believe in you, then who's going to believe in you? So you got to practice like I used to practice sitting and standing in front of the mirror and say, I love myself. I do it right now to my kids. If you watch any of my videos, our keynotes or whatever, I always say, I love myself. You know why?
You got audiences saying that.
I got audiences saying that all over the world. All over the world, y'all. Yeah. I'm not even gonna say United States. No, all over the world, they're saying I love myself, because I understand the art of programming. And so if I program these children right now to think and love themselves just the way they are, butt naked, yes, in front of a mirror, guess what? They're gonna love themselves because it's embedded into their subconscious mind. So when they get out into the real world, where guess what? Some people might not love them. And they're going to fail and things are going to happen. At least they have that foundation. And I'm just going to close with this. The foundation is what we were talking about from the beginning. Reconstruction starts from the foundation. And if the foundation is cracked, they will condemn this house. Yeah. But the drywall, the plumbing, or all this other stuff that happens in the house, it doesn't matter. They can fix that. You can leave that and never fix it. And you can still sell the house. Yep. So I'll leave that right there, and I look forward to more of this.
Oh no, we just getting we just getting the ball rolling, man. We are, and I'm gonna say this, guys. Man, your wisdom. This is so good. Almost I feel like we can go 2 hours with, but I want to respect time here, because we're a little over an hour. But I just want people out there to know, these fellas are definitely we're part of each other's personal dream teams. We do a lot of projects together, works together, coaching, training. And I put some information in there for you to reach out, if there's some just want to have a conversation with us about what we're doing. And there's others that's a part of this as well. But we're truly a dream team. But I just want to leave you with, I had a chance years ago to meet one of the greatest people I've ever had a chance to meet was Zig Ziglar, and many people know Zig, and one of the greatest speakers that ever lived. And Pierre knows the story. I don't think I shared it with Marv, but how one of my dreams in life was to meet him, and I remember my first time going to the National Speakers Association. I was like, I just hope if I can just meet Zig. That's all I want to do is meet Zig. I said, I don't care if I meet anybody else. I just want to meet Zig. And so he was there, but he's Zig. So there's like 2,000 people in Zig, and I'm not going to get access to Zig. So we're at the Orlando Convention Center, and man, they were wearing our butts out. One event after event, workshops, I did conferences. You're going from, and I'm exhausted, like half day. I'm exhausted. So I'm on the escalator, escalator, going up, and I put my head down, I had my briefcase, and the down escalator was like real close to where we were. And as I was going up, head down, I felt this hand on my shoulder, and I looked over, and it was Zig Ziglar. And he looks at me, points at me, and he goes, thumbs up. And I felt like something was passed in that moment from Zig straight over to me. Wow. Straight over to me, man. So for those of you who know who Zig was, he was one of the best ever. We lost him some years ago. Yes. But we had multiple conversations after that. He gave me his number, and we would call him. Not that we talked all the time, but he would talk, And his thing was always what you said, Pierre. If you treat 90% of the population like they're hurting, you'd be spot on. He feels like most people are hurting from something. Yes. You know what I mean? And so when you're speaking, when you're coaching, when you're training, realize a lot of people are dealing with that hurt and treat them as such. But then he said something that was so profound. It's so simplistic, but I want people to hear this as we get ready to wrap this up. He said, dreams were meant to be, we're supposed to achieve dreams. Like, he said, I've achieved my dreams in my life. I've been on some of the largest stages. I've been all over the world, biggest corporations. He said, but that was a byproduct of an effort in the decision that I made. He said, because this is what he said, people kill their own dreams.
Yes.
They just kill their own dreams.
Yep.
And I can't. What we're trying to do with this reconstruction process, we're not trying to say, like look at us and it's us and there'll be others involved with what I'm looking to do. We all got things we're doing, so you'll hear from all of us. But I'm not trying to say we're a magic wand here. I'm not trying to say poof, here we go. What I'm trying to say, with this process here is people you admire, pay money to go see, buy their clothes, those folks have a focus. They know what they want. They make the commitment. And I'm going to tell you how focused they are. Call their office and try to get 5 minutes of their time. And see how quickly they will tell you, no, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it, because they know what they want. This year, let's make focus and intentionality one of our two biggest words. Stay focused, be intentional, and do this reconstruction, mindset, expectations, and interactions. Because if not, you're going to be excited in January.
Yeah.
I can promise you that. Everybody excited now. 2022, man. But when you've been long in the world, like Marvin, you've been old as I am, it's 1980, 1981, 1982. What folks, man, every year is that year, man. You hear people say over 1990, 2001, 2015, 2014. Man, it's going to be my year. Then at the end of the year, like, what'd you do? Man, I don't know. Because it's not about the year. It's about the person.
Yep.
The year don't have nothing to do with it. It's what we have inside of us. So, fellas, thank you so much, man, for your time. You guys are a true blessing. I'm glad that we're a team looking to make a difference in the planet. And I'm not going to even say 2022 going to be a great year, because we already doing some. It's just like who we are.
We already see it.
We ain't got to attach a year to it.
Written down, we already see it.
We live it every day. So we are like 2021 was a great year for me. 2021 was great. So it's just who we. It's a byproduct of who we are, and I'm glad that I'm running the race with you guys. So any last, if I got like a maybe 30-second last words that you want to share, we'll start with Pierre. What would you like to share, and then we'll head on out and go to our families.
Yeah. Last word is, I want to encourage everybody to love yourself. Mm-hmm. Really love yourself. What does that mean? Give yourself room to fail. Give yourself room to make mistakes. But then also be hard on yourself. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some type of discipline that you put on yourself so that you can achieve whatever dream that you have that you want to achieve. That word dream is very, very important. Why is it important? Because without dreams, we wouldn't be using this technology that we use right now.
Is that right?
The dream is everything. I think I heard Les Brown say that one time. It's everything. He always say you got to be hungry. And then you talk about expectations. I talk about expectations all the time, because I know a wise man that told me years ago, and I'll stand up for this one. He says, nobody rises to low expectations.
That's right.
I'm not talking about expectations of you.
Yeah.
And I pat my chest. My expectations of myself.
Right. Of myself.
Nobody rises to low expectations. Dow Coach D. Andrew says.
Yeah.
But what he says is, okay, so let's make our expectations so high, so that we know we can achieve those expectations, and we can make it happen. All we got to do is just go after it every day and use the strategies that we're giving you.
And we're going to be giving them. We're going to be giving them on Facebook Live. I put Facebook Live in there multiple times. We're going to be putting them on there, man, and doing some, just talking about this conversation. We're going to keep it going, and because the reality is, man, this is what we're called to, gents. This is who we are. Like this is not work for us. It's calling. This is what we're wired to do. This is what we're inspired to do. That's what we were birthed to do. And Marv, what's your thoughts, man? Just as we get ready.
First thing, get started. Right? Don't overthink it. Get started, right? And along the journey, you'll make some mistakes along the way, and all those failures will do nothing but teach you. And to Pierre's point, two things that he talked about that I'm thinking about the mirror exercise that I do, right? If you want to hold yourself accountable, all you have to do is go to the mirror and say, would I fire myself today, or would I hire myself today? Right? You cannot lie to your reflection. Your reflection will be just as bold and clear to you than you can ever anticipate. And so that's one. Two, Les Brown. I'll never forget it. In 1987, trying to figure out how to make some of what's in my head a reality. And he said, you have to be willing to do the things today that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow that others won't have.
Come on, man.
And so you have to be, you have to set yourself apart from the company that you keep.
Yeah, man.
And you have to be willing to invest in the time. And secondly, and don't forget, don't lose sight of this. And I'm saying this to Coach and Pierre as I am to anyone else right now in this moment. As you begin your journey again, okay, a continuation of your journey in 2022, ask your family for permission. What do I mean by this? I have a daughter that's 12 years old and a wife, right? And so when I'm on a run, when I'm laser focused, I ask for permission. Over the next 90 days, I'm going to be in it to win it. And it doesn't mean that I don't care about you. I don't want to spend time with you, but I'm asking for permission that if you allow me the opportunity to be laser focused, that you support and undergird that with me, we're going to be able to position ourselves in a way that benefits all of us. Let's put in the time on the front end so we can enjoy this life and space together on the back end. There's a difference between telling your family what you're going to do and asking your family what you need.
They're part of their journey. They're part of their journey.
So good.
I'll leave you with that, Coach.
Yeah. Well, listen, fellas, there's so many things, more things I would like to share, but I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm just going to live, folks, with the immortal words of Henry Ford. And he basically says this when he was interviewed about all that he accomplished with the assembly line and the Model T and with an 8th grade education at that. And he simply looked at the camera, looked at the guy, the reporter. He said, basically, it's simple. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Either way, you're right. Yes.
Right.
And notice the word, gentlemen, if you think. So what he's trying to say is right here. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about no rally with 10,000 people. We're not talking about come be a part of some summit that we're doing, pay $20,000, run with us for the year. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is when we've given you this information, reconstruct yourself. Now, we'd like you to run with us too. We're going to do Facebook stuff. We're going to be putting stuff out there. We're going to be looking at some summits. If you're interested in the coaching piece, we do that as well. But right now, we're just going to sow the seed and just put it out there and let you know that we're here because we love what we do. You know, all of us have, man, been able to do some amazing, we've seen some amazing things. We've stood on some amazing stage. I've been on some places I could never imagine in my lifetime that I would ever, coming from the Pioneer Homes Projects in Syracuse, New York, end up doing. But that's because of here. It starts up here. And brothers, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time. Give your best and to your family, your love to your wonderful wife and children. And we're going to do this again very soon. So thank you so much.
Likewise, brothers. Love you.
Yeah, love you as well.
I wish you all the success you allow yourself.
You got it. And hold on, guys. I'm going to end the broadcast, but you guys don't go. Okay.
Okay.